This is the Italian Citizenship Podcast, hosted by Marco Permunian and Rafael Di Furia.
Well, Mr. Marco Permunian, it's been quite a while since I last saw you in person. How you been?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. And this is quite a special treat to be back here in Italy and be here directly with you here in Verona today. Can you, Marco, first, before we get into the episode, before we talk about 1948 case, can you choose your lawyer? Maybe do you want to tell people where we are right now?
So we are in front of the former court of Verona. It's an historic building. Now it's no longer used as the court, but a couple of hundred years ago, this was the place where trials were happening in the city of Verona.
Well, it might be a little bit hard to see, but it's that building right over there. And anyway, so Marco, let's just jump straight back into this. Of course, I'm Rafael Di Furia. We're here with Marco Permunian. And when a person is going through a court case for citizenship, do they have the ability to choose the judge that works on their case?
The answer is no. You are not able to choose your judge in a 1948 case. I'm asked this question quite frequently, of course. We've talked before extensively about 1948 cases and the chances of success, which in general are very high. We also touched on the subject of those or that specific subcategory of cases involving an ancestor who was naturalized while their child was a minor, and we have said that in those cases the chances of success could be a little bit lower than normal depending on the judge and depending on the court. And so because of this situation, a lot of clients have been asking me, is it possible to choose the court where I file the case, or is it possible to choose my judge assigned to my case in the court where the case is filed? Unfortunately, the answer is in theory no for the first question, and definitely no for the second question. So it is not possible to choose your judge once the case is filed in a specific court. It might be possible to determine which court hears your case depending on a specific set of circumstances, and maybe it's worthwhile explaining that more in detail. So as we all know, the law changed in 2022, and it's now necessary to file your 1948 case in the court, in the regional court, where the city of birth of your ancestor is located. So if your ancestor was born in the region of Campania, in the Naples area, then you will have to file your case in the Naples court. Now, some clients have been asking me, can I choose a different court? Naples court is knowingly a little bit lower than normal. Is it possible to file somewhere else? Now, if you reside abroad, it is not possible to choose a different court. You have to file your case in the court of Naples. However, if you or one of the other petitioners reside in Italy or take up residency in Italy before you file the case, it is possible for us to file the case in the region where you establish your residency, or when one or multiple petitioners reside in Italy. In other words, you are able to choose a different court in Italy other than the court where your ancestor was, of the region where your ancestor was from, only if you or one of the other petitioners reside in a specific different area of Italy. If you legally reside outside of Italy, it is necessary to file the case in the region where the town of birth of your ancestor is located. However, if you or one of the other petitioners legally reside in Italy from a legal standpoint, then it is possible to address the court in that region. However, once you file the case in a specific court, it is not possible to choose which judge will hear your case. So let's say, for example, that in a specific court there are two different groups of judges. One group of judges that approves all cases, and one group of judges that maybe has denied some cases, maybe because of the date of naturalization of the ancestor. Now, a lot of clients, they would like to receive, of course, a judge that has a track record of favorable decisions, but unfortunately there is no way of choosing your judge. The only person who is going to choose the judge assigned to a specific case is the president of the court. So the president of the court will determine the judge that will hear your case. Now, unless your judge resigns or retires, you will not get a different judge just because you ask for it.
So even though you don't have the choice of what judge will be making the decision in your court case or what judge will hear your case, is there ever the situation that could come up where maybe you start with one judge and then it gets handed off to another judge, or is your first judge the only judge that will hear this?
I'd say it's quite frequent in Italy for a judge to be replaced by another judge. Not super frequent, but I've seen that happening a number of times. Like I said, because your judge has retired, because your judge has resigned, because your judge changed job, maybe they went to, they wanted to become a lawyer or a prosecutor, or simply because the judge was either moved to a different department in the court, meaning they no longer hear citizenship cases or immigration cases, they hear, criminal cases, or even more frequently when a judge is too full. So when their docket is too full, then in that situation, it is possible for the president of the court to assign a different judge for that reason, because the first judge was too full.
And so when we are talking about going to court for Italian citizenship, of course, there is another way of getting Italian citizenship, not by a 1948 case, but through descent because of delays. Does it function the same way for an individual who's maybe going to the Italian court directly because they've experienced a delay at the consulate as it would for somebody who is going through a 1948 case, as at least what we've spoken about so far?
Yeah, the situation would be the same. So the process is the same for somebody who goes through the courts because there is a delay in the consulate, and those who petition the court because they have a 1948 case. The process is identical. The procedural rules are the same. So what I said about 1948 cases so far also applies to people who petition the court because they have a delay at the consulate, or they are unable to get an appointment, and therefore they petition the court, which is a situation that I frequently come across lately, meaning we're filing a lot of cases on behalf of people who are unable to get an appointment at the consulate.
That's absolutely fascinating. I mean, even for me as somebody who does live outside of Italy currently, that even to get appointments for certain things just to take care of as a citizen who's already been recognized for a number of years for the consulate for where I live, there are certain things where it's just, if there is an appointment even available, it gets snapped up immediately for non-application processes, just regular, say you want to renew your ID card or whatever it may be. These are things that are unfortunately a reality at this point in time. And of course, you mentioned about for individuals going through the 1948 case and how they have to choose which court that they actually have to go to. But what about an individual who is going through a citizenship by descent case where they actually weren't able to get an appointment at the consulate? Does it work the same way, or is it different?
So the process is the same and the rules are the same, meaning that if you are unable to get an appointment at the consulate, and your case is a normal citizenship by descent case, so not a 1948 case, but you are unable to get an appointment, so your only option at this point is to petition the court, then the rules are the same. So the same rules that apply to a 1948 case also apply to the process that can be initiated by somebody who is unable to get an appointment at the consulate. So in the same way, you have to file in the region where the town of birth of the ancestor is located, and you cannot choose a judge. Once the case is filed, the judge will be appointed by the president of the court. And the only difference in that situation is that if you move your residency in Italy, it's not that you get to file the case in the court in the place where you reside, because at that point you can file your case through an Italian municipality, because we're talking about people who don't have a 1948 case, people who have a citizenship by descent case. That was your question. People who have a normal citizenship by descent case that are unable to get an appointment at the consulate, those people, if they move their residency to Italy, of course they don't use the court. At that point they can use the town hall in the city where they established their residency.
So in that case, that's actually another way of getting around this problem, basically. But also, this makes me wonder, because you've talked about like doing it at the town hall, or also doing it in the place where your ancestor last resided, or another option that may potentially exist. Are there more favorable and less favorable places? I mean, like, if we're talking about someone whose ancestry comes from the south or from the north or from the center or from a big city, a small city, are there certain factors that can be looked at and you might be able to infer the possibility of a better outcome or not as great of an outcome?
Strictly talking about 1948 cases, you, like I said, have to file the case in the court of the region where the town of birth of your ancestor was from. Now, for our clients who are mainly Americans, we generally petition courts in southern Italy because it was very common for people, Italians from the south of Italy, to emigrate to North America, so the US and Canada, and that's why most of our clients, they have an ancestor from the south of Italy. So in short, we're basically using the courts in the south of Italy and sometimes central Italy. It's unlikely for us to petition a court in northern Italy, which is more frequent for attorneys who represent clients from South America, because individuals of Italian descent from South America, they tend to have ancestors from the north of Italy. However, we have petitioned, not frequently, but sometimes courts in northern Italy, and I have to say that courts in southern Italy, they tend to be way more open to approve these kind of cases. So cases involving somebody from North America trying to get Italian citizenship by descent through a 1948 case.
Wow, I actually have to say that it's truly fascinating that there is that little difference, and especially that you've noticed things being a little bit more open in the South. And of course, if anybody's wanting to get in contact with you for assistance and help to get through the process and get their Italian citizenship, how can they get in contact with you and your team?
People can contact us through our website, ItalianCitizenshipassistance.com, or give us a call. Our number is on the website.
Absolutely fantastic. And of course, if you're interested in more content like this about getting Italian citizenship through a 1948 case by descent or however it may be sure that you're subscribed to this YouTube channel as well as the audio-only podcast on your favorite podcasting platform of choice. And of course, if you're interested in more about life abroad and living abroad, come to check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Rafael Di Furia. And you can also find the audio-only podcast if you search for Not Your Average Globetrotter on Google or your favorite podcasting platform of choice. But of course, we have been here live, in person, in the flesh, in Verona, Italy, with Marco Permunian, Italian attorney. I'm Rafael. Stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you all next time. Later.
Thank you.